Hi, my name is Christine Bowen, and I am a student with Psychology of Addiction at Aspen University, and this video is a case study video response for the TED Talk and blogs and book that Glennon Melton Doyle has done. And I find that her description in the TED Talk of wearing a cape to be a hero or to pretend was a great analogy that we as people are told over and over again to lie throughout our lives as children even. For example, she used, "How are you doing?" and immediately you're supposed to say, "Fine, how are you?" You're not supposed to be honest with people and tell them if you're not fine. And if this were the case, the theoretical perspective of classical conditioning would be the reasoning for her situation, and then it only makes sense to continue to live in that dark, predictable world that she put herself in. She used all of that nervous energy that she would obtain from everyday life to binge and purge starting at 8 years old. And she didn't receive help until she was truthful about her situation when she was 18 and in high school still. She finally went to her guidance counselor and realized that she didn't have to be a survivor all the time and pretend to get through the day when she was admitted into a mental hospital. She was allowed to be her true self and to be honest. When she started college, she started to add other capes of alcohol and drugs. After college, though, she didn't feel like there was even a Glennon present anymore. She just had the capes. And however, even though she was in this particular situation, she finally had a realization when she was drunk on the floor and had a positive pregnancy test that she needed to start showing up to life and making choices that are going to be hard, but they're the right decisions to make. Having to deal with life and not running for the exits is what she calls being a real human being. And the first step to recovery in her eyes is being honest, not just with yourself, but with others. And letting people know that you're not fine and that sharing feelings is hard, but allows guidance for the next step. And to help others, and she actually writes blogs and responds directly to people when they're having a hard time, has written a book, and is now doing TED Talks. She misses having that exit of, the addictive behaviors of alcohol and drug use, but she has constant reminders of how much worse it could be without daily help of medications and forcing herself to watch intervention weekly. She realizes that she is on a fine line, and at any time she could be pushed right over that limit into addiction again. And with that being said, I'm actually going to discuss how that relates to theoretical perspectives now. The more nervous she felt or difficult life became, the more she indulged into addictive behaviors. She kind of conditioned herself into addiction by the brief amount of relief she experienced from the activity of either binging and purging or alcohol and drugs. Not to mention that even though she broke the cycle of the conditioning, she still has those urges when those cues are present. And the cue exposure therapy or aversion therapy from the classical perspective, I think would be an excellent tool to use in her situation. Quitting cold turkey seemed to have eliminated the immediate problem, but having the urge when cues are present doesn't necessarily solve the problem. And then the least useful theory, I think, would be the developmental theory. Seems that she kind of grew out of her mental illness to an extent. She was able to stop partaking in the addictive activities when presented with a life-changing event, the pregnancy, but she did not transition into a different mindset. She barely has a grasp of the recovery. She mentions that she's still right there on the edge, hanging on by a thread, even though she's been sober for 12 years. She could still benefit from a different kind of help or an added therapy like self-help groups. She is aware there are other people like her out there now and is willing to help them, but I think there's still some need for her to find help for herself. Thank you.